Learn English through stories. Anna, the American news reporter. Chapter 1.
It was Anna's first day at work and she was already late. She was very nervous and scared, as she didn't want to make a bad impression on her first day. She quickly dressed and rushed out the door, hoping to catch the bus that would take her to work. As she was running to the bus stop, she heard a voice calling her name. She turned around to see her neighbor, Mrs. Smith, waving at her. "Good morning, Anna. Where are you off to in such a hurry?" "Oh, good morning, Mrs. Smith. I'm on my way to my first day of work." "Your first day of work? My, you must be so excited." "Yes, I am, but I'm also very nervous. I'm already late and I don't want to make a bad impression on my first day." "Don't worry, dear. Just take a deep breath and be yourself. I'm sure you'll do just fine." "Thank you, Mrs. Smith. That's very kind of you." "You're welcome, dear. Now go on and catch that bus. Good luck on your first day." Anna arrived at work and went straight to her boss's office. She was shaking and her heart was pounding in her chest. "I'm sorry I'm late." "That's okay, Anna. Take a seat. I just wanted to go over a few things with you before you start work today." "Thank you." "You don't have to be nervous, Anna. We're all here to help you and support you. Just do your best and you'll do great." "Thank you, I will." And with that, Anna's first day at work began. Despite her nerves, she did great and was able to make a good impression on her boss and colleagues. She was grateful for Mrs. Smith's encouragement and support, and she was excited to start this new chapter in her life.
Chapter 2.
Anna's first task at work was to write an article about famous protests in Paris. As she began to research, she was transported back to her time studying journalism in Paris. She remembered walking the streets and feeling the energy of the city, and how she had fallen in love with both the city and a young man named Pierre. How could I have forgotten about Pierre? He was such a big part of my time in Paris. Anna sighed as she thought about Pierre and the memories they had shared. She continued to work on the article, focusing on the history of protests in Paris, from the French Revolution to the recent Yellow Vest protests. As she wrote, she couldn't help but be reminded of the passionate spirit of the people of Paris, always fighting for their beliefs and rights. Maybe one day I'll go back to Paris and see Pierre again. She finished the article and submitted it to her boss, who was very impressed with her work. "Anna, this is excellent work. You have a real talent for storytelling." "Thank you, I'm glad you liked it. You seem to have a special connection to Paris. Have you lived there before?" "Yes, I studied journalism there for a year. It was a very special time in my life." "Well, it certainly shows in your writing. Keep up the great work." Anna smiled, feeling proud of her work and grateful for the opportunity to share her love for Paris with others. As she settled into her new job, she couldn't help but daydream about a future trip back to the city of love and the memories she had left there.
Chapter 3.
Anna was determined to reconnect with Pierre and visit Paris, even if just for a short while. She spent her lunch break Googling flights to Paris, but unfortunately, all the flights were already booked. She sighed in disappointment, but then she had another brilliant idea. She remembered that she and Pierre had stayed in touch for a while after she returned to New York, and she thought she might still have his email address. Anna quickly opened her laptop and started searching for Pierre on Facebook. After a few minutes, she found him and her heart skipped a beat at the sight of his familiar smile. She sent him a message, inviting him to visit her in New York. Hi Pierre, it's Anna. I hope this message finds you well. I've been thinking about our time in Paris, and I would love to catch up with you. How about you come and visit me in New York? She hit send and waited eagerly for his response. A few hours later, she received a message back from Pierre. Anna, it's great to hear from you. I would love to come and visit you in New York. Let's make it happen. Anna was over the moon with excitement. She quickly replied to Pierre, arranging for him to visit in a few weeks' time. She couldn't wait to see him again and relive their memories in Paris. Despite her busy work schedule, Anna spent the next few weeks counting down the days until Pierre's visit. She took a few extra shifts at work to save up for the trip, and she even convinced her boss to give her a long weekend off so that she could show Pierre around New York. Finally, the day of Pierre's arrival arrived, and Anna was at the airport to greet him. She hugged him tightly and they both smiled with joy and happiness, as if no time had passed at all.
Chapter 4.
Anna was excited to show Pierre around her adopted city of New York. They started their first day by taking the elevator to the top of the Empire State Building, where they took a photo together with the stunning views of the city as their backdrop. Look, Pierre, this is my favorite view of the city. It's incredible, Anna. I can see why you love it here. Next, they headed to Brooklyn for some famous New York bagels and cream cheese. They sat at a small cafe, chatting and catching up on each other's lives. I can't believe how much has changed since we last saw each other, but it's so good to be here with you, catching up. I feel the same way, Pierre. It's like no time has passed at all. After they finished their bagels, they took a walk through Brooklyn, taking in the sights and sounds of the bustling city. They eventually made their way to Central Park, where they found a quiet spot to sit and enjoy the greenery. I love this park. It's such a peaceful escape from the hustle and bustle of the city. I can see why. It's beautiful. They spent the rest of the day walking through the park, enjoying the sights and sounds of the city. They eventually made their way back to Anna's apartment, exhausted but happy from a day filled with memories and adventures. I'm so glad you're here, Pierre. I can't wait to show you more of my city. I'm looking forward to it, Anna. Thank you for such a wonderful day.
Chapter 5.
Anna and Pierre were sitting in Anna's apartment, flipping through channels on the television, when they came across a breaking news report from Paris. The reporter was talking about the large-scale protests that were taking place in the city, and how many of the protesters had been arrested. As they watched the footage, Pierre's eyes widened in horror as he recognized his younger brother, Jean, being taken into custody by the police. He jumped up from the couch, his heart pounding in his chest. That's my brother, Jean. I have to go to Paris and help him. Of course, Pierre. I'll book us a flight right away. Thank you, Anna. I couldn't do this without you. Anna quickly got to work, booking the next available flight to Paris. She knew how important it was for Pierre to be with his brother during this difficult time. Within a few hours, they were on a plane headed for Paris. Pierre was filled with a mixture of fear and determination. He was scared for his brother, but he was also determined to do everything in his power to help him.
Chapter 6.
As soon as they landed in Paris, Pierre and Anna made their way to the police station where Jean was being held. They were met with resistance at first, but eventually, Pierre's persistence and Anna's knowledge of the local legal system paid off, and they were able to secure Jean's release. The rest of their trip was spent making sure that Jean was taken care of and helping him navigate the legal system. Pierre was grateful for Anna's support, and he realized that he couldn't have done it without her. In the end, Jean was cleared of all charges and the family was reunited. Pierre and Anna returned to New York, with a newfound appreciation for the power of friendship and the importance of standing up for what you believe in.
Chapter 7.
When Anna returned to work after her trip to Paris, she was eager to use her experiences to inform her writing. She sat down at her desk and began to work on an article about the protests and the arrest of Pierre's brother. Hours later, she emerged from her office, holding the finished article in her hands. Her boss took one look at the piece and was immediately impressed. He saw that Anna had a unique perspective on the situation and had written a thought-provoking and well-researched article. Anna, this is excellent work. I'm impressed with the depth of your research and your perspective on the situation in Paris. Thank you. I just felt like it was important to shed some light on what was happening there. Her boss was so impressed with Anna's work that he decided to give her a promotion. He recognized her talent as a journalist and her passion for her craft. Anna was overjoyed at the news. It didn't matter that she was late on her first day, as she was now being recognized for the quality of her work. All in all, it was a successful and fulfilling first day at work for Anna. She was grateful for the opportunity to use her skills to make a difference, and she was excited for what the future held for her career.
Thank you for listening to the story. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to my channel for more stories in English.